Hey, this is Donald Schultz. I'm here for Nikki Schultz, who's busy managing our Kickstarter for Wandering Galaxy, which is live on Kickstarter right now if you're listening to this when it came out, or watching it. It's also available on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. As I said, I'm Donald Schultz, filling in for Nikki Schultz, and with me today is Colby Dauk, who is, according to Nikki, your best friend.
It's 100% true. I'm everybody's best friend.
He founded Plaid Hat Games and is our current CEO, although I'm organizing an ouster, getting the board together and trying to put together an ouster. I'm having trouble because we don't have a board, but we have no board of investors. I'm working behind the scenes to get rid of him.
A coup.
Yeah, I'm trying to put in Warren Buffett, who's also not returning my emails.
By the Plaid Hat bylaws, whoever assassinates me gets to take the role of CEO.
Perfect. Yeah, and then to Colby's CEO, we have our Chief Creative Officer, the JD Vance, to his seat of power, Jerry Hawthorne, the designer of Wandering Galaxy. We love it.
That's two salutes.
Two double salutes.
Yeah.
Wow. He won't kill you, boss. He saluted twice. Jerry is reporting live from Colorado, where they just had a power outage. Jerry, how you doing today?
Well, power's back, and I mark myself safe from the power outage of Colorado.
Oh, perfect. Jerry, how are you feeling? We are now into how many days into this thing are we? Like 2 weeks?
No, like just a little over a week.
Week and a half, week and some change. Yeah, a little over a week, and we're at 110 last I checked. We're doing well enough to where I no longer refresh it every 10 minutes.
I went and ran errands when it launched. Like, I intentionally was like, I have to get out of here. I can't look at it.
Colby, how are you feeling? We haven't talked to you on the show since we've gone live. How are you feeling about this? This is our first Kickstarter.
Good. I think that, this is about what I predicted. So,
wow.
What? It's a little better than I predicted. I think it's hard to chart these things because none of them have exactly the same trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, it's doing better than expected. Obviously, we hit our goal quick.
Yeah.
Those goals are intentionally set low.
Sure,
little insider secret.
For those of you who don't know. Well, that's like the bare minimum, right? That's the like,
right.
Oh God, hit eject button is like we didn't hit.
This is
although a lot of companies, their oh God, hit eject button is even actually not the goal. They'll cancel it. They're like, oh,
and do it again. For sure.
But yeah, we've exceeded that. Are we doing okay with whatever our real secret CEO number is?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We are. Everybody's going to keep their job.
Sweet. Wee. People are like, why should I back this Kickstarter? And it's hard not to reply like, well, so that my daughter's mommy and daddy can keep their jobs. So that our company can survive. People don't want to hear that. People are self-interested.
And that's what today's episode's all about.
All about self-interest, taking care of yourself first. Jerry, if somebody came up to you and said, why the hell should I back this game on Kickstarter? What would you say?
I would say because you believe in our company and you believe in our games and you want to get behind us.
I mean, it is true. Like, I do the audio stuff for the game, and that is an aspect I would argue with confidence that we have the best integration of multimedia in a game from like a major publisher. There might be some like fringe thing out there I don't know about. But from the stuff I've heard, I'm really proud of what we're putting out.
We don't have a ton of competition, but
right
among those, we're far and away the best, I would say.
That of what I've experienced, yeah. And
that other game you're thinking of, our audio's better.
And the thing is I think part of that is we are hiring, working professionals. This is their 9 to 5. This is what they do. I spend a lot of time, doing sound design and fussing with the edit and stuff. And
Donald works for a board game company, but all of his training, all of his years of experience are in sound design.
And so there's this outrageous amount of work and cost that goes on top of it that you don't see in the cardboard the way you do in a lot of games. And that cost just kind of comes out of the bottom line with these games versus, like if it was a component that you could like physically hold that we had to pay shipping on and stuff. So there is that where we do need your help just to make the game.
We price these like you're just buying the cardboard. Right. All of that stuff comes for free. They're priced competitively for their component count, for their manufacturing cost. Absolutely. So if
there's an extra 5-digit number on top of that is not factored into the cost of the game in terms of what you're paying.
Right. So if you are a fan of these games and this level of development, I think in order for them to keep happening, we need the extra support that, kind of the direct financing of a Kickstarter supports.
Yeah, we need to know that this is the direction we need to be going. And, if you like hearing me on the podcast, maybe consider, pledging if you haven't yet, because, it's a tough gig out there being a sound guy for a board game company. Not a lot of positions floating around on, I can't remember. What's the website old people use to get jobs?
LinkedIn.
Not a lot floating around on LinkedIn. Another thing I was thinking is, you get the game early, which, I always get a little irked when I back a game on Kickstarter and I see it for sale before I have it. It's just a thing that I know logistically has to happen for certain companies and the way that they've organized it, but we've tried to organize this from the ground up to get the game in your hands, first. So if that's a thing you care about, that's certainly a thing. And we're also going to give you a little shout out in the app if you want. We'll have a spot where you can say no, but we're planning on putting a little sort of hall of fame for those who supported us, and maybe some other fun little perks that we can
see your name in lights.
Yeah. You can push this button, scroll through 1,000 names, and then show your mom, hey, look, I did it.
Yeah. And I personally, I don't care if you tell her you did the whole thing.
Yeah. You can say, well, this was my idea is why my name is right here.
Right.
And your mom,
she's gullible as shit.
Yeah. She'll fall for it. I've talked to the lady, and honestly, it's shameful some of the stuff I convinced her. Foul stuff.
Gross.
Yeah. And then, the other thing is we purposely, I don't know why, we're like really talking to this imaginary figure who assaulted Jerry in the street and said, why should I back this goddamn game? We're really like barraging him.
Yeah, I hope that he specifically listens.
Yeah, I hope you hear this, King. The other thing I would tell that bastard, get out of Jerry's face, look at me.
Stop.
Now I'd say, look, pal, it's not an accident that there ain't no FOMO on the campaign. Where this thing is we designed this thing to you there's no stretch goals, there's no deluxe edition. You either want to support us or and get the game, or you don't, and that's fine, but it's not necessarily designed to force you to get it from us.
Yeah, we've been in the business for coming up on 15 years, and we're well established in distribution and retail, and it's our desire that those people who have long supported us, the people who get it from retailers, the retailers themselves, that they're getting all of the thing, that they're not getting a reduced version of it. We've long, I think, been vocal about the idea that some of the crowdfunding things can start to feel a little anti-consumer, and we're worried that some of the FOMO stuff is part of that, and we don't want to necessarily contribute to that. We're feeling it out, honestly. Like, I think it's really cool that you can do like an over-the-top version funded by the people who are, want to pay for all those extras directly. Like, definitely it has allowed a lot of publishers to do some really cool things, but our first time out of the gate, we want to be really cautious that we're considering everybody that has become a fan of us over the years. So if your way to get Plaid Hat Games is your local game store, and you like those people, you like supporting them, you like that they're in your town, in some place you can physically go, don't back the game. Get it from them. You're going to get the same game. We did do like a discount on the game. We are doing shipping as low as we can. So if you get it from an online retailer, maybe consider getting it directly through the campaign. It helps us. There are a lot that go into these games. We need to find a way to to make them pop off better. If you haven't played the Forgotten Waters or Freelancers, there are package deals. If you go on the Kickstarter, you can see all the accolades that those have gotten. We have we have a lot of the same crew working on Wandering Galaxy. It's got some of the same systems, some of the same core systems. It's got a lot of its own unique stuff. It's definitely its own game, but you can, I think maybe find more assurity that the game's going to be great than you can in a lot of Kickstarters. So
yeah, it's not like we're sort of, I hope the impression people get is that we're not asking for blind faith. There's sort of a record and a pedigree here and something to base it on that make people confident that the game will be good. And then the guy turns around and he pulls a knife out and he tries to stab Jerry. Jerry, what do you do?
Karate chop.
Roll a D20.
Okay, he's immune to karate, so he blocks your karate chop. Colby, what do you do?
I rolled a sway, an influence roll. What does that call in D&D?
Pick a number between 1 and 3.
3.
Wrong. So Jerry, unfortunately, has been killed. So we'll have to pull the Kickstarter, unfortunately, in tribute. That's sad. In other news, the game is doing well, like we said. Jerry, you did an AMA, an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. You kept the default username that they give you when you start an account on Reddit. I thought that was a very bold move.
I literally could not figure out how to change that damn thing.
How'd that go? Are you mad that more people ask me questions than you?
Well, yeah, he really looked like part of the community with that default username.
We're like, oh, weird. Well, one of us is here.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really pretty pissed off at the people for not showing up for me the way they did for Donald. So
yeah, it makes you think.
It's just rude.
If we'd have done a Kickstarter for Freelancers, we could have got billions on Kickstarter.
Yeah. It's always the Kickstarter you haven't done that's really going to pop off.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one.
I'm also a little mad that they didn't ask me anything. They just basically asked me game questions.
I always think about that.
Some more probing questions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think on those AMAs, like I always think
I was ready to lay it all out.
Well, I kind of think I always expect there to be more like gotcha questions, more like I'm gonna get this bastard. I'm gonna put him in a tight corner. because he said anything. But yeah, people tend to be nicer on Reddit AMAs than they are just on Reddit normal mode, which is interesting.
It's almost like the person with feelings is presented there right in front of me.
Right. It's no longer an empty avatar. It's a person who exists. And so suddenly it's like, oh, I should probably not just call this guy slur for no reason. Jerry, so this game is different from Forgotten Waters and Freelancers. It is, I would say, gamier. It has a little more meat on its bones, gameplay wise. Would you say that's accurate?
I mean, I'd say it's like there might be some truth to that. There is like a little space combat mini game within the game that has a little bit of a tactical element to it that you didn't see in the previous games. And
it's not like a super heavy economic simulator or anything, but it's got a little bit more mechanical oomph like on the table rather than just like the decisions you're sort of making.
You're keeping some more balls in the air too. It's kind of reminiscent of parts of Dead of Winter in that regard, where it's like we got a lot of different things we need to consider and manage and work together on, because everybody gets their own station and their own thing they're responsible for, and they kind of have to appeal to the group.
Yeah, more ticking clocks. Would you one thing that is in the game that I think is really neat is you can upgrade the ship. And as you play through your campaign there's like several different campaigns, and they are campaigns. I don't know if everyone understands this, but in Freelancers and Forgotten Waters, each quest was sort of a standalone, sit down and do it in 1 or 2 sessions sort of thing. Whereas this is like, has 3 different starting points, and it's very sandboxy. Those can go in multiple directions from those starting points, but within those, you're sort of like have a campaign to play through of several sessions. And as you're playing through that, your version of the Zephyr with that group, the spaceship you all share, you can upgrade it with stickers. And we've had a couple people ask about that because it is something that the app directs you to do. It's something that the game, or the location or sorry about that, y'all. The what do you call it? The book, the optional book you can get on
book.
The entry book, or the app will direct you to do this. Will you be adding a like sticker to your depiction of the ship? Jerry, can you kind of talk about that a little bit? People have had some questions, Nikki said.
Sure. So when you start a campaign, you're going to get the ship log sheet, which is where you're going to keep track of everything having to do with your spaceship. And on one side it looks like this, and on the other side it looks like that. On this side here, you have a ship schematic that's labeled with A, B, C, D, and E. It has 5 little zones here. So at the end of a game session, the player who attained the highest rank in that particular game session gets to pick out a sticker and place it onto one of these 5 areas, thus changing how the ship looks. So, for instance, here's one of the sticker sheets. So you could get this fancy paint job, or these, flames for one of the port stabilizer, the starboard stabilizer. You can get a different kind of cabin up here, cockpit area and stuff. Also, if you crash the ship, you'll be instructed to put battle damage on the ship, and those will kind of cover a spot and prevent you from putting something cool on there. You'll end up with just like a damaged stuff. But there's really no gameplay effect from these things. It's just fun. It's kind of like at the end of Freelancers, for anybody who's watching who played Freelancers, you get to write your name on the pipes if you have the highest score. This is very much a reflection of that. It's just like in
it's a thing you can look back on the next time you play and go, oh, remember the good times we had when this happened and we crashed the ship? There's that dent or whatever. That's fun.
Yeah, and it's on the ship log, which is a sheet, and you get a new sheet every campaign you play. So you're not destroying anything. And the stickers also, there's plenty of them. If you run out, like Jerry said, there's no gameplay effect. So it doesn't really, if you don't want to use stickers, you don't have to use stickers. They're just for funsies. You can look back at a ship log from an old campaign and like, look at that tricked out beast we made, you know.
We kind of group the stickers into like a theme. So if you wanted to kind of go for the pirate theme, let's say you're playing through a campaign and you guys are doing a bunch of you're jumping claims on a bunch of other ships and stuff, and you're being kind of like little pirates and stuff. Well, you can kind of bling out your ship to look more like pirate stuff. You can get some, interesting little just paint jobs and stuff, graffiti. All this.
I don't know how well those are showing through on the webcam, but they're cool.
And if you're listening to the audio only version, you can always check out. I believe we have some images of these on the Kickstarter page. But yeah, or you can check this out on YouTube. But yeah, it's a sticker sheet, and it has like sort of a image of the ship with like a complete set of stickers. But you can mix and match those stickers as you sort of decorate your ship through each campaign, and to reflect what you all did in your adventure together, which is pretty cool.
And if I could speak to the campaign for a second, it is not like a lot of campaign games in that it's like there's no way we're going to get a group together for this for that long. It's very intentionally a 4-game campaign, and that's why there's multiple starting points, and it's very sandboxy, so each campaign can be very different from beginning to end. But it's, I can get through a campaign. We can commit to 4 nights with one group, and then I'll play with a different group next time, kind of thing.
Yeah, and the sandboxy nature is a thing that's hard to show without people experiencing it. The most fun I've had with Wandering Galaxy is when we have these emergent sort of narrative moments that happen as we're going off the beaten track and sort of getting into crazy situations. And I think once people get their hands on the games, that'll be something that it'll almost, I think for some people, take a little bit of getting used to. Because I think like a lot of us through these kinds of games have been sort of trained that like, oh, the moment you get off the path, the game is going to redirect you to the path that like they've written this stuff for. But in this one, your goal is just like pay your ship off.
Which requires a lot of writing and a lot of planning, which is why we're kickstarting this game. We'd love it if you back it on Kickstarter.com.
I'd also like to point out that there are actual ways to upgrade your ship in the game that don't involve stickers, that do involve mechanical, gameplay elements and stuff. So it's not just about the stickers. The stickers are just the fun thing, but you have all these different ways to upgrade your ship and ways to improve your guns and improve your shields and things like that.
Love upgrading the shields. feels real good.
You can buy yourself a smuggling hole. Maybe you want to get some illegal goods past the government.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You don't need a smuggling hole, but if you want to transport illegal goods, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of fun sort of like emergent storytelling stuff where you'll, as you play through a campaign, be sort of gaining grudges with certain characters in the galaxy, or sort of changing the temperature of the galaxy, essentially.
The galaxy's on the brink of war, and your actions could push it over one way or the other.
Yeah, and when it's wartime, there's money to be made during war. It's not always a bad thing,
There's also lots of danger during war.
Well, yeah,
and
sure.
The stories are going to change, You'll end up at a location and it'll ask you, like, where's the galactic struggle dial? And depending on your response, you can have a very different experience on that planet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'll wrap this up here in a minute. I do want to say we'll be at Gen Con. I'm working on the audio for the demo. The demo will be a sort of con exclusive experience. So try to get in there and check it out if you want. It's written specifically to sort of capture the vibes of the convention and be sort of short and a good showing of different things in the game.
But it's unique content and voice acted unique content. So it'll be cool to check out at conventions.
Yeah. So be sure to check it out. If you get a chance to demo it, be sure to get in there, or, hover around and watch some people play if you don't have the time.
Content, yeah.
And I think hopefully that'll help you get a good feel for it. But the game won't be available at Gen Con. We'll still be running the Kickstarter during that time. So it's just a demo.
Yeah, so a Final Components game, you'll get to see everything in action. We're still building out all the stories and everything like that.
Yeah, the game's finished in terms of like getting components manufactured. The part we're still working on, and part of the reason we're on Kickstarter, is the digital stuff. The dogs are barking. I hope you guys.
That's another thing that I think scares people off of Kickstarter. Purchasing a game they're not going to get for 2 years. Right. That's not going to be your experience with this one. Like, the game is done. They're final assembling it now.
Right. The copies we have,
they're just putting them in the boxes.
The copies we have for Gen Con are manufactured by the people who are manufacturing the final copies of the game. It's not.
They're press printed. They're not just like some of these manufacturers will do a really good digital copy. These are press printed copies.
Yeah. What you see is what you get. So yeah, anybody want to do any predictions for what the final number on the Kickstarter will be? Let's play a game and we'll see in the end who wins.
170.
170 is your final prediction, huh?
Yep.
Jerry?
169.
Oh, God. 169, Bob.
Oh, man. So
actually, Colby said like $1 over, right?
Yeah, I think you want to go $1 over.
Okay.
No,
170.
Right. You don't want to be over, right? Yeah, you want to go $1 over.
170.01.
I love it. All right, I'm writing these down. I'm gonna go 2.
Ooh. Big money on the table.
$2. We're gonna lose it all. Cool. Well, yeah, I'll ask people in the future. Maybe I'll retroactively get Joe's opinion. He was on last time, but we weren't playing this game. And then at the end, whoever is the closest to being right
wins a copy of Wandering Galaxy.
Wins a copy of Wandering Galaxy. Gets a free plaid hat. Yeah. So come by our booth if you're going to be at Gen Con. If you're not going to be at Gen Con, don't come by our booth. That won't work.
They won't even let you in.
No, that's a bad idea.
21.
We might find a way to get the con exclusive eventually to players that want to check it out. But for now, Gen Con, and then you'll be able to do it at Essen. You'll be able to do it at PAX Unplugged. So if you're going to be at any of those, there'll be chances.
We did one of these for freelancers, and the issue we ran into there is a lot of people really wanted to play it first. And it's not the best way to start playing the game if you have the full game. It's a great way to play it at a convention and just get a vibe for the game. But actually, the first quest in Freelancers is the first quest you should play. So it didn't really make sense. People are like, can I do this at home? I can't start playing the game until I've done the prologue or whatever. It's like, the prologue's kind of bad compared to the rest of the stuff in the actual game. Like,
because it's designed for a certain experience.
Yeah. We put all of our best stuff in the actual game.
And I don't think it's a prologue in this situation either, right?
No.
So you'll feel less like you missed out on something by starting in on the actual game. And this will just be supplementary maybe at some point, or just a cool thing to check out at a convention.
Yeah. All right. Well, once again, thank you for listening to the Plaid Hat Podcast. I'm Donald Schultz. I'm here for Nikki Schultz, who cannot be here because she's managing our Kickstarter. Thank you all for back in the game. Check it out on Kickstarter right now. Wandering Galaxy. Bye.